Imagine being stranded miles from civilization, surrounded by the endless expanse of the sea. Your only company, the howling wind and crashing waves. The Smalls Lighthouse, a lonely sentinel off the Pembrokeshire coast, was meant to be a beacon of hope and safety for passing ships. Yet, in 1801, this very symbol of resilience became the stage for a chilling tale of isolation, death, and haunting consequences. What happens when two men are left alone in a confined space, with one of them lifeless and the other teetering on the edge of sanity? This is the tragic story of Thomas Howell and Thomas Griffith, a tale that would forever change the rules of lighthouse keeping. Thomas Howell and Thomas Griffith were experienced lighthouse keepers, but they shared a troubling dynamic. Howell was known for his reserved, no-nonsense demeanor, while Griffith was described as more argumentative and stubborn. Over time, their relationship soured, and tensions simmered beneath the surface. Then came their fateful assignment, a grueling 6-week shift on the Smalls Lighthouse. The isolation of this desolate location was challenging enough, but what happens when you're trapped with someone you can barely tolerate? For Howell and Griffith, this was no longer just a job. It was the beginning of an unimaginable ordeal. The weather at Smalls Lighthouse was notoriously unpredictable, but in early 1801, a fierce storm swept through, trapping Howell and Griffith in their confined quarters. Supplies dwindled, and the crashing waves seemed unrelenting. Then, tragedy struck. Griffith fell gravely ill and succumbed to his illness, leaving Howell alone with his lifeless body. Trapped by the storm, Howell faced a harrowing dilemma. What does one do when surrounded by death with no escape in sight? The psychological weight of the situation began to take its toll as the storm raged on. In an act born of desperation, Howell made a grim decision. To prevent Griffith's body from decomposing in the confined quarters, he wrapped it in canvas and secured it outside the lighthouse on a ledge. However, the fierce winds tore the body loose, and it became wedged in the lighthouse railing. The storm's ferocity made the corpse appear as though it were still alive, waving in the wind, a haunting image that would drive Howell to the brink of madness. How does one keep their sanity when every gust of wind turns the past into a ghostly presence? The storm finally subsided, but Howell's ordeal was far from over. Weeks passed before a relief crew arrived. By then, Howell was a shadow of his former self, physically and mentally shattered. The sight of Griffith's decayed body, still lashed to the railing, greeted the rescuers, a macabre testament to Howell's struggle for survival. What goes through the mind of a man pushed to such extremes? And how did this tragedy leave its mark on the future of lighthouse keeping? The Smalls Lighthouse Tragedy left an indelible mark on maritime history. In its aftermath, the British government introduced reforms to prevent such isolation. It became mandatory for lighthouses to have at least 3 keepers at a time, ensuring no one would face Howell's fate again. The story of Howell and Griffith continues to be a cautionary tale of resilience, mental endurance, and the haunting price of isolation. As we recount this tale, we are reminded of the delicate balance between man and nature, and how even the strongest can break under its unrelenting weight. Thanks for watching, and subscribe my channel.